Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, today I want to have a look at the new release of Emmabuntus. This is a Debian-based system that is really designed for an education program slash keeping computers out of landfills by donating those computers into more poverty-stricken locations. So this version just dropped about, looks like about 7 days ago, so about a week ago. And we'll go ahead and have a quick look at the project itself. Now, this is a French project. They do have a language selector up here in their bar there, so you can actually have a look at which language you want to choose from. And what you can see is they're based on Debian, but they really keep their system streamlined down to very lower spec computers because their entire purpose is to revitalize old computers, get everything set up, and then donate these out to projects who need them, mostly for education. So while I'm not sure it's the best distribution for a basic standard user who knows what they need, it is nevertheless an excellent distribution for learning because it has so much extra software installed. Now, I've not had a look at this new version yet. We just got it installed, and it's asking me some questions as we first get everything set up. And so we're going to go ahead and have a look at what this looks like. Now, you can come on over to the website, which is emmabuntus.org, and they do have some videos over here. You'll see the download options. So we have a 32 and a 64-bit version of each one of these guys, and I'm using the current version. And I believe that the bold ones here are the current versions. So where they used to run as XFCE only, I believe, we now have the option of LXQT. And then there's a few other changes that they made to make the system run really streamlined on any given system setup. So what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and jump on over to the desktop and have a look at what this guy looks like. So the installation is just your standard Debian installation, really no different. It goes ahead and reboots you, and then we land on this screen here before we even started. We have a welcome here, and it's basically giving us the information. We have several post-installation setup windows are going to set up that allow you to configure everything in the system. With old or resource-limited computers, it suggests us to use LXQT, which is lighter than XFCE by default. So right now we're on XFCE, and you can even see the little mouse up there in the corner. So right here I have the option, do I want to switch to LXQT or do you want to continue under XFCE? Since I've looked at this under XFCE before, I'm going to continue under LXQT. And then we'll go ahead and see what this guy looks like. You'll be redirected to the login screen. Please enter your password to switch. So it's going to go back to our basic login screen. So pretty much all that happened is it went back to the login screen but changed our setting down to LXQT instead of our XFCE. So we'll go ahead and continue under our LXQT. And then hopefully when we get logged in here, then we should get the similar prompts. So here we have desktop configurations. Which one do you want to use? Prefer these screensaver of choice. So Emmabuntüs or Ubuntu. Let's go with, is it going to give us preview over here? Let's go the Emmabuntüs. Why not? Please select the wallpaper of your choice. All right, so you have a variety of different wallpapers to choose from. I kind of like that darker one there, so let's go ahead and do that. And I guess this is just what shows up on the screensaver. I do like this better, so we'll go with that one there. We can start G-Speech, which is a text-to-speech every time you start your computer. I think that might be a little annoying, so I don't want to do that. And then you can enable automatic login. So if I keep this guy checked, it's going to automatically log in without prompting for passwords in the future. So you can decide whether or not that is good for you. Cairo dock configuration. So we have a Cairo dock here. Do we want to activate the dock? Do we want to lock the default dock? Do we want to activate Redshift or not? All right, so let's activate the dock. Lock the Emmabuntüs default dock. Sure, let's go ahead and do that. So under our dashboard configuration, do we want to activate Redshift? So Redshift is the eye protection. In the evening, it will shift the computer to more red colors. I do not ever like that at all, so I'm going to not check that guy. And then we can activate or deactivate the clipboard manager to now enable you to go back and see your clipboards. This is actually very handy for things if you're doing like graphic design, you're needing to grab different color profiles. Very handy. For the most part, I don't usually use it though. And then do we want to activate a dark theme? Sure, let's go with a dark theme. We can change all these settings later on by going to the application menu, settings, Emmabuntus desktop. All right. Now, which version of the dock? Do we want all applications? Do we want simple for beginners and my dearest Madam Michu? Or do we want for children and very beginners? So let's just go ahead and go with our simple default. Looks like the simple is just kind of the middle of the road. I do remember there's a lot of software, so if we do all, I think the dock will span across the whole side of the screen. Basic will have too few, so let's go with Goldilocks Center there. All right, so there we are. We have a nice, beautiful dock. That's one of the things I love about Emmabuntüs is how beautiful the dock is and the setup looks. It's just a very well-themed system. All right, so next it says, would you like to install non-free software in the distribution? You will be able to install these later by going to the application menu and then non-free software. So it's giving the option to do this without having to go into the terminal or things like this. So this is proprietary codecs you're about to install. They're not supported by Ubuntu or Debian developers. Might be illegal in some countries, so make sure that you are aware of it. So we should have an internet connection. We're going to do codecs. We can install Skype here real quick, TeamViewer, Arial, and Calibri Microsoft fonts. That's kind of fun. And then do we want to show this window at the next startup? I do not. So we're going to toggle this guy off. So this is probably going to go ahead and start doing a few items. This might take a few minutes. So while it's doing that, let's go ahead and poke around in the menu a little bit, shall we? All right, so we do have a search function for the menu. So we did a nice, concise black menu here with a search. So under our accessories, like I said, there is a lot of stuff in this installed, which is why for me, it's definitely not one I'd say, hey, let's go ahead and use this for a new user, because there's an overwhelming amount of software. But for the person who needs to learn how to do things or an education setting, there is some benefit to using this, particularly if you're going to be using it to teach people how to use many open source software packages, because you just won't have to install much else here. All right, so Archive Manager, let's just go through the accessories and we'll get back to our prompts. We have Archive Manager, there's two of them there, Archive Manager, and we have Arc. I'm guessing this is Brother Printers. It'd be neat to see if this guy actually works with my printer out of the box. We have disks. We have the welcome screen, Featherpad, Font Manager, Font Viewer. GTK hash is a good one for checking the checksum of a file. We have KeyPass XC. And we have a few other file managers there. Here's our Redshift, image stick formatters, Veracrypt. So if you're using Veracrypt for anything, it does. This is one of the distributions that has Veracrypt installed on it out of the box. The other one I know of that does support it now out of the box, I believe, is Tails. I think supports Veracrypt out of the box. There's several others you can install it on, but that is just our out of the box. All right, we'll get back to the rest of the applications in a bit. So here, do you want to remove unnecessary languages? So this is a multilingual distribution, and so what we're going to do here is we're going to remove language packages we do not want, and then install the complements of whatever selected language package based on what we selected when we started up. Do we want to show this window at the next startup? I do not, but yes, I would like to remove things and then set this language as the default system language. Let's go ahead and do that. And while it's doing its thing, let's go ahead. Here's our ChiroDoc settings. Under Education, we have Child's Play. Here's LibreOffice for Schools. I'm not sure what LibreOffice for Schools is. Stellarium is an excellent star chart open source application. You can get it on most of your Linux distributions, but if you're curious about the stars, like what is that bright thing up there in the sky? Stellarium is awesome. Really good to use. I'm going to boot up LibreOffice for schools because I've never actually seen that. I mean, maybe it's just LibreOffice. They just renamed it. It's possible. It's, in fact, most probable. Okay, so it looks like we have a LibreOffice with more of a special skin going on here. Here's useful commands. Okay. We have play with font settings, so you can adjust your fonts, I guess. And we have play with format settings. All right. So it's kind of like a skin. It looks like it's just kind of like a skin to make this easy. Now, me used to LibreOffice and teaching a lot in LibreOffice, it actually is utterly confusing me with all the icons. But for a school setting, that actually might be a beneficial way to go. Curious to know write your first name. No, just close. I want to write my first name. All right, games. And we have Play on Linux installed, so that means we have Wine installed by default. I am never a fan of that because that will allow a Windows virus to run. I'd like to rather see a script. Like they apparently have some scripts to do some of these things. It'd be better if they had a script to install Windows support or not, because having Windows support out of the box actually keeps the computer a little bit more vulnerable than I would like it. But most of the rest of the stuff, you can see we got Steam out of the box. We have Mindtest. We got, let's see, under our graphics, we have Darktable. So that's excellent for photographers. We have GIMP. A panorama creator. Just, wow, there's so many things in here I've never even seen. I might have to keep it around for a while just to play with some of these. This is interior 2D design application with 3D preview. Very good, very good. Internet applications, Chantons, Empathy, Falcon, Firefox ESR, FileZilla, frame of software. There's Jitsi, Steam again, Thunderbird, Wi-Fi Radar, Gpotter for podcasts, things like that. So that's cool. We're on. Okay, let's go ahead and have a look. Let's finish up the software actually, because looks like that's probably our last one. So here's our non-free software. So if you want to add any of the non-free softwares, you can go ahead and do that. We have AbiWord, we have ebook editors, ebook viewers. That might mean we have Calibri installed. Yes, we do. The ebook editor comes with Calibri, as does this particular ebook viewer. With HomeBank, which is a personal finance tool. All right, let's have a look at LibreOffice, this regular one. Let's see if this is the same version as the kids or if this is same. All right, so we actually apparently have the kids version is actually a completely different application. So we have our basic LibreOffice for guys like me who does not want the icons all over. And then you also have the kids version, which I guess will help them learn. So that's what you have there. Again, Wine, not a fan of having Wine installed by default. It does produce some security vulnerabilities. Sound and video, we have the ALSA Mixer, Audacity, Clementine, we have Handbrake, Kden Live. So many applications on here. So again, if you're looking at this for a brand new user out of the box, you say it's fully bloated, but their intention, their purpose is to teach, and so I'm less concerned about it here. Here's your BleachBit as root, package installers. Then here we have our preferences, we have our about, and then we have our switch users, leave, and things like that. All right, so we also have this welcome screen here. We can toggle this on or off at the next boot up. Here we have tools. So we have a USB creator, USB formatter. So maintenance-y type things. Here's our time shift. Well, there we go. We got a little pop-up there for software. We have configuration for fixing tearing, installing codecs, ChairoDoc, mixers. Here's printers. I'm going to click on this brother printers. Let's have a look at this guy here. Let's see what this is doing. Okay, so I guess it's maybe a brother printer installer. I don't know. We'll play around with that for a little bit here. All right. Here's Turbo Print. We have various systems, system utilities there. Here's under videos. I think this is probably just getting help with videos. Here's tutorials, Debian Beginner. Okay, so this is a beginner's handbook is what this guy is. It's the basic Debian beginner's book here. There's a lot of information. It does look like they are trying to make it more child-friendly. A lot of cartoons, colors, and things. Not like super young child, but certainly like high school level friendly. Looks like that's probably what their idea is there. Debian reference. Here's our settings manager. Gets us back to our basic settings panels there. See what Software Center we have installed. My guess is Synaptic, but I could be surprised. And we actually have the GNOME Software Center installed. So there you go. We have a full legit Software Center here. Let's go ahead and check something here. Let's look at Kdenlive, which we said is installed. We do have 2 of these here. So it looks like we do have Flatpak support out of the box. So if you're looking for Flatpaks, this guy is set up to use Flatpaks. Let's see, is there a terminal down here? I don't see one there. Let's go ahead and look for a terminal here. There we are. There's a terminal. I want to see if Snap is installed. So Snap is not installed. My guess is you probably can install Snap. Flatpaks are already installed and configured to be used by the GNOME Software Center. Snaps are probably available but not yet configured. All right, the last thing I want to check when we have a look at this guy is I want to see if this guy actually detects my printer without having to do anything about it. So this is a test page. Let's go ahead and run our printer. Print, and we have a generic printer and a print to file. My guess is generic printer is probably not going to test a print page, but we'll go ahead and have a look at that anyway. Looks like it's probably not. So we do have, since my printer here is a Brother, let's go ahead and play around with that Brother printer system here again and see if we can easily get a Brother printer installed. I'm just curious to find that out for us. So here we have an HL, and I have an HL L2380, and I don't see it here on my list, so it may not support the printer out of the box. It is one of the DW printers, so like this one or this one, but to my knowledge, neither of these drivers actually functions with my printer. We're going to go ahead and give it a try anyway, just to see, but my guess is we're not going to, and I'm not sure I remember what my IP address is here. Might be 127. Nope, not 127. All right, so it does not look as though it's going to automatically detect my printer. And that's not super unusual. I have found that this particular printer does not play friendly with many Linux distributions, although I have found some that it does. Now, that doesn't mean I can't use it. It just means I need to go onto Brother's website and download the deb packages, which is a fairly simple process that I've described elsewhere. So out of the box, looks like it's not going to be able to support my printer, but that's perfectly okay. I actually did not expect that it would. You can see how nice this looks. Everything here is, it's well themed. It's bright, colorful. I do like the look of it. So I would say that they probably do accomplish their goal of making sure that we have a system here that is fairly low power. Let's see, we're running 828 megabytes. So that's a little bit more system resources than many of the lighter weight distributions that I've seen, but certainly low enough that you could revitalize an old computer and donate it for an educational purpose, should you need to. It's very possible a lot of it's just there's so many things running in the background that is causing it to run a little bit slower, but still I think they've accomplished their goal. Very nice distribution if you are looking for something to test out a lot of different applications without even knowing what you're going to want to install. This would be a potentially logical choice. So there's my look at Emmabuntüs. Overall, not a bad project. A little bloated for my taste, but again, for what it's designed for, that's not a concern of theirs. I don't like the wine installed by default. But again, an education system, I think in an education system, might want wine not on there even more, because education means kids on the internet. You're going to encounter a lot more Windows viruses. You do not want them to be doing anything out of the ordinary, and wine support will actually enable that to happen, which is a risk I guess you could take. It'd be better to have a little script install on there. Other than that one issue, this is a beautiful system. It runs very well. It has a lot of the tools and a lot of support, and it's certainly a program and a service for a very good cause, and anything that can keep computers out of the landscape and allow people to learn on them is actually a really good project. So definitely have a look at Emmabuntus if you have some time, or if you're looking particularly for distribution that you can learn a lot about a lot of other software packages you've never seen. So thanks for coming along, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.